If the planet's fresh water heated up to boiling point? No, we're not talking about a Hollywood supervillain's next nightmare to turn Earth into a giant teapot. We're talking about something much more real, and believe me, less happy hour than it sounds. Today we're talking about Amazonian lakes turning into hot tubs, but the kind you'd never want to try. Before we dive into this boiling broth of information, a small favor. If you like science told with a touch of madness, subscribe to the channel, give us a big like, and click the little bell so you don't miss any of our scientific misadventures. Let's get started. So, imagine you're in the Amazon, the green lung of the world, a place that conjures images of lush jungle, majestic rivers, and mind-boggling biodiversity. Now, take that idyllic postcard and rip it up. Because in 2023, and unfortunately in 2024 too, something unsettling happened. Something that turned some of its lakes into giant hot tubs. The only relaxation they offer is an eternal one for the poor fish. A 2023 heatwave hit the Amazon with such violence that it sent water temperatures in some lakes soaring to 41 degrees Celsius. To give you an idea, that's the temperature of a hot tub at a spa. You know, when you get into a spa and the water is so hot it feels like you're cooking? Well, imagine the little fish swimming in there. Not exactly their natural habitat, unless they were planning a very, very literal fish soup. Scientists, the kind who don't just check the weather, but study it with complicated graphs and models, published this alarming discovery in Science. A journal so serious that if you wrote a recipe in it, it would probably be for quantum roasted chicken. And the worrying thing is that these heat waves are becoming more and more frequent. It seems the Amazon has decided to adopt the motto, hotter is better, but with disastrous side effects. Why is all this happening? The blame, as often happens when the climate goes haywire, lies with climate change. These Amazonian lakes, which were once an oasis of coolness, have now become sentinels of climate change. They're practically like canaries in coal mines, only instead of dying from suffocation, they die, perfectly cooked. Which, a perfectly cooked canary isn't the best, but an entire lake, ouch. A team of scientists, led by the Mamirawa Institute for Sustainable Development, analyzed the water temperatures of 10 lakes. They used satellite readings and studies of water levels. And what did they discover? That in 5 out of 10 lakes, daytime temperatures exceeded 37 degrees. But the most striking case was Lake Tefé, where the water reached 41 degrees. At this point, I wonder if the fish in there started asking for the menu with bubbles. But it's not just the heat that has turned these lakes into natural pressure cookers. There are other accomplices in this environmental thriller story. First, the low depth of the waters. Imagine having a paddling pool under the scorching sun. The water heats up immediately, right? Well, the Amazonian lakes, due to droughts, have become a bit like giant puddles. A little less epic than it sounds. Second, solar radiation in cloudless skies. It's not that clouds are our natural air conditioner, but they come pretty close. When there are none, the sun beats down relentlessly, turning the water's surface into a scorching hot plate. Basically, the sky has gone into maximum tanning mode. Third, the high turbidity of the water. Imagine having a cold drink and a cloudy drink. Which one absorbs more heat? The cloudy one, of course. The suspended particles in the water act like tiny microwave ovens, trapping heat and making it rise. And no, it's not a conspiracy by Buitoni to sell more yeast, but the real villain in this story, the one pulling the strings behind the scenes, has been the unusually calm winds. You know when it's hot and there's not a breath of air? It feels like being in a convection oven, but without the benefit of a final roasted chicken. Calm winds slowed down the dispersion of heat through evaporation. The water couldn't breathe, trapping all that heat like a giant greenhouse. This air stillness was even more devastating than the temperature increase itself. Basically, the air said, "I'm not moving, you guys deal with it." If you're having fun, or being scared to death, with these scientific nuggets, let us know in the comments. And if you want an extra incentive to comment, I promise the next gag will be about my attempt to have an underwater barbecue in a boiling lake. Don't miss the chance to have your say. And the worst part is that 2023 was not an isolated case. In September and October 2024, similar conditions occurred. Scientists have calculated that in the last 30 years, Amazonian lakes have warmed by 0.3 C 0.8 degrees C per decade. It's like an inexorable global warming that is gradually transforming these ecosystems into something unrecognizable. It's a bit like when your smartphone updates and the interface changes. At first it's strange, then it becomes unbearable. The 2024 drought was so severe that Lake Tefé shrank by 75% in extent. Think about it, a lake shrinking by 75%. It's like your neighbor deciding to shrink their pool to fit only a dinghy, and another lake, Badajoz, by as much as 90%. It's no longer a lake, it's an embarrassed puddle. These droughts have caused mass die-offs among fish and, even more heartbreakingly, among freshwater dolphins. Yes, you heard that right. Freshwater dolphins. Think of Nemo, but instead of ending up in a fish bowl, he ends up in a pot. Fish fauna is fundamental to the local economy. Entire communities rely on fishing for their livelihood. Without fish, it's like taking coffee away from Italians in the morning. A disaster. So, the new normal seems to be a future where Amazonian lakes are hotter, shallower, and less hospitable to life. It's not exactly the future we expected, unless our plan was to turn the Amazon into a series of giant, fishless tropical aquariums. I hope this, not too hot I hope, dive into the world of Amazonian lakes has entertained you and, above all, made you reflect. It's a serious problem, but we mustn't let it overwhelm us. Science gives us the tools to understand, and with awareness, we can act. Maybe we can't turn lakes into Olympic swimming pools, but we can do our part to reduce the impact of climate change. Every small action counts, even if it's not an epic undertaking like saving dolphins from a natural hot tub. To conclude, if you enjoyed this journey through science and laughter, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a sparkling like, and click the bell to not miss the next episodes of Crazy Maybe. Thanks for following us, and remember, science is fun, even when it talks about boiling lakes. See you next time.